Okay, so today I wanted to talk about reframing the way you look at failure or your decision to even try something. Try something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. And maybe the fear of failing in that is what's holding you back. So I wanted to share a few thoughts on that and how you can look at a fear of failure differently and get past that because who knows what's on the other side of you getting past your fear of failing. I was just reading a story on Thomas Edison and the amount of times it took him to invent the light bulb in a way that worked efficiently. And in all his prototypes he went through, he had what you might call 10,000 failures, put failures in quotes, because it ultimately led to one of the greatest inventions in history. But it was his quote after that stood out to me. One, he said that I haven't failed 10,000 times, and I haven't even failed once. I've succeeded in finding 10,000 ways that won't work. And so he's that much closer to finding a way that does work. And once I've eliminated all the ways that don't work, then I'll be on my way to finding the right way. And a lot stood out in that. One thing that comes to mind is if he had viewed himself as a failure based on his past, on those 10,000 attempts that didn't pan out, and he just said, you know what, looking at what I've done, how can I not call myself a failure? And he chose not to do that. He kept looking forward towards, well, what is possible now based off of the information I've learned through these failures. And then eventually came to a place where he he found one way that worked and changed the world and was decades ahead of all other inventors in that space. And I would challenge you in questioning, have you tried whatever you want to do more than 10,000 times? I'd bet it's a whole lot less than that. You might even say, "Well, I've tried this 5 different ways, 10 different ways, 20 different ways, and it still didn't work out." And so you might say, I just continue to fail. I must be a failure." And that becomes part of your identity, and it's self-imposed, and it's a lie as long as, you continue to believe that and give up, towards, trying to do whatever you want to do. So I wanted to share that. And also, another lesson I heard from a speaker at a recent event, and he was talking about the way babies crawl, how they, when they're learning how to crawl, how many times they get themselves up, they fall again, they fall over and over and over. And it's not even an option for them to be like, well, I guess this crawling thing isn't for me. I think I'm just going to, pack it in, and, I gave it a few shots. It's not even a decision whether they're going to continue to try to crawl. It's innate within us to persist and grow and figure it out. And it's usually not till later in life that maybe we start to internalize some things, or we're told something from somebody that discourages us and makes us not want to try anymore. So I would say let's get back to basics. Let's get back to that mentality that I'm not saying to think like a baby, but have that innate will that is within all of us to want to continue to pick ourselves up, and really, if we need to, tune out negative voices that are saying you're a failure, you need to quit. Because I think one of the worst things I'd have to live with if I got towards the end of my life and said, you know what, I really wish I would have tried that, but for whatever reason, I was just afraid I was going to fail. That would be hard for me to live with. Even if I got myself to a point where I could try it and get out of my comfort zone and at least give it a try, I could live with knowing that I at least tried. And I'll leave with a quote from Kanye West. And he said, for me, giving up is way harder than trying. So my encouragement, don't be afraid to try things, and don't let fear of failure hold you back.